Yes team, what's happening? Just doing my morning steps, coming to you from Portugal. It's actually hotter than I thought it would be, and I'm obviously walking on the sand, so excuse me if the camera flies around a little bit, but wanted to make a short actionable video for you today. I'm gonna explain how to maintain 10 to 12% body fat year round, and I'm gonna be using myself as an example. That's the condition that I like to hold myself at year round. It's a non-negotiable standard, whatever is going on in my life, whether I'm traveling, whether I'm on holiday, whether I'm training for a certain event, 10 to 12% body fat is where, in my opinion, I look my best and I feel super confident. And that's what most people are chasing these days with their health and fitness. It's not about being massive, having loads of muscle, being absolutely shredded. It's usually just about feeling a little bit better and improving the levels of confidence. So I'm going to go into different parts in the video today that are essential to help you maintain that level of condition. Obviously, we'll get into the training and nutrition, but first of all, it all starts with mindset. You know, if you've got a goal of getting somewhere, let's say you're 20% body fat right now, and you want to get to sub 14 or sub 12% like me, let's say, you've got to identify like the person who is already there, and you've got to carry out the actions that that person does on a daily basis. So, you know, the person that is 12% body fat or lower, would they skip their steps in the morning? Would they overeat consistently on the weekend? Would they skip training sessions? Of course they wouldn't. So without sounding cliche, the mindset side of things and getting that in the right spot is absolutely key. From a training standpoint, it's going to be very, very hard for you to stay lean unless you are holding a good amount of muscle mass. The more lean muscle mass that you have on your frame, the easier it is to stay lean because you simply burn more calories just living and existing. You know, I always use an example with clients. The person that has more muscle mass sitting at their desk is going to burn more calories per day than someone who has less muscle mass. Therefore, super easy to stay lean. For me, I'm 5'10", I'm around 78 to 79 kg. Again, probably 10 to 12% body fat. So I'm holding a good amount of muscle, and it took me years to build that. But now staying lean it's not effortless because a lot of work needs to go in, but it's so much easier to do that and stay lean than it was when I was younger and a lot lighter. So from a training standpoint, where I was going with that is 3 to 4 resistance training sessions a week. That's going to allow you to build muscle. Opting for a split, like for example, lower body, upper body, full body. If you're only able to train 3 times a week, you're going to be able to hit each major muscle group twice a week following that split, which is the one that I follow at the moment. You know, a lot of the people that we work with are incredibly busy. They travel a lot. They have families. Sometimes they're unable to get into the gym more than 3 times a week, and that's fine as long as those resistance training sessions are of a high quality and you're training at high intensity, close to failure over time, obviously provided that nutrition is on point too, and sleep, rest and recovery. That will allow you to build muscle mass. And obviously those sessions are going to be the ones that are responsible for actually shaping your physique as well. So strength training and resistance training is incredibly important from a metabolic standpoint, but also a physical standpoint too, to help you look the way that you want to look. You know, I'm going into the gym today to do upper body. I'm going to be doing some heavy vertical pressing, some heavy pull-ups. That's going to allow me to build that V taper, and I'll train the other muscle groups, the lower body, later on in the week. Nutrition wise, now it depends on the position that you're in right now. If you've got body fat to lose, then you'll need to be in a calorie deficit of 300 to 500 calories a day. You'll need to track data to make sure that you are losing the desired amount of weight over time. I've got much longer, more in-depth videos on this, so check out the nutrition video. I'll link it below. But the most important thing to get lean is a consistent calorie deficit over time. Now, obviously your deficit is also going to be comprised of your movement, steps like I'm doing right now, and cardio if you have the time to do that. But sticking to a calorie deficit will be absolutely essential to get you to that lean point. And that's what allowed me to get to 10 to 12% body fat, was sticking to a deficit for a certain amount of time. I've worked with coaches that have provided me with the accountability to stick to that for a long period of time to get to where I wanted to be. And then once you've maintained that level of condition, it's easier to maintain it than it is to get there in the first place. So let's say you hit that 12% mark where abs are visible, you can see your obliques, then we'd start to build your calorie intake back up to maintenance. So add on 300 to 500 calories per day, slowly over time, over the course of a month. And then you can maintain that condition whilst consuming more food, because your metabolism will naturally speed up a little bit. So obviously, how do we stick to that deficit? I recommend tracking calories to all of our clients. Meal plans, if you think that is sustainable for you, but having an awareness of what you're putting in your body every single day and having the ability to track anything that you're consuming, that's liquids, alcohol as well, if you are consuming that, is going to allow you to actually understand how much food you are putting in your body. Again, I've got a much more in-depth video on this. So training, nutrition, and then movement day to day. Obviously mentioned that before with the step count, but in my opinion, maintaining between 8 to 12,000 steps a day is going to put you in an amazing position to lean down and achieve that kind of golden 10 to 12%. And the reason for that is that means you're active. That means you're burning a lot of calories throughout the week outside of your training sessions. And that means you can afford to get lean, or you'll be able to get lean whilst consuming more food and more calories. A big mistake and a tricky situation that a lot of people get themselves into is they bring their calories down too quickly and then they have nowhere to go. They're not dropping weight and they're already consuming, sub 2,000 calories. Where do you go from there? If you move more throughout the week, you're going to maintain a higher level of output. Therefore, you're going to burn more calories, which obviously equals fat loss. Now, this is all well and good, everything I've mentioned here, but the last point that I'll leave you with is data tracking. Now, I know some people are, they turn their nose up at this sort of stuff, but to be honest, if you're not willing to track data, for example, your body weight, track your calories, basically to make sure that you're progressing each week, then I would honestly say that you're not that serious about getting in shape. I don't question spending 5 to 10 minutes a day tracking my data around my nutrition and my body weight, taking the occasional progress photo, because I know that it allows me to stay in amazing condition, to be honest. And all of the clients that we work with that do really well, they are fucking good at tracking their data. They never question it because they've got that, what we call proof of concept. They're seeing the results. They understand that tracking the data allow them to get there, so therefore they're willing to keep doing it. So it all starts with mindset. Then you need a solid training program from a strength training standpoint. You can do cardio, which will aid fat loss as well, but I don't want to overcomplicate it in this video. If you are interested in balancing the running and doing that kind of hybrid sort of training, I've got separate videos on that. Nutrition, sticking to a calorie deficit until you've achieved your conditional body fat percentage goal, and then reversing out of that. And then day-to-day movement, getting plenty of steps in like I'm doing now. I'll probably have done 5,000 or 6,000 steps by the time I get home. And then lastly, data tracking, absolutely essential. So hope you found the video useful, a little bit shorter than the usual vlogs that I put up, but I'm gonna be putting up more of these just to provide more value and just get more volume out in terms of content. But if you're interested in finding out more about how we do things with our clients and our one-to-one high performance coaching program, you can find the application form below and also a call link as well to book in for a non-obligation strategy call. See you in the next video.